Hi there folks, Brick City Builder here, and today we're going to do something a little different. Normally I post updates of my city on my channel and that's pretty much it, but if you watched my last city update, you know that my son and I have joined a lug and are doing some lug shows. And for the next show coming up, we are going to do both a display of our city and a display of my childhood collection of classic space. So I thought I would do a quick video of the classic space layout that I have temporarily set up in the laundry area of my basement. Not an area that normally shows up in my videos. And this is just before I take it apart to pack it away for the show. So first I'm going to apologize for my voice. I've had a bad cold, which is pretty much gone except for a throat issue. So I apologize for the raspy voice. So what you see here is pretty much everything I had in Classic Space as a child. And Classic Space is very special to me because it was the last Lego theme. It was an early theme really for Lego, for the minifigure of course, but it is really the last thing that I was involved in with Lego before I went into my so-called dark era in 1982. And it is also the thing that brought me back into Lego as an adult. When my when my oldest son aged into Lego, my mother sent out my old childhood Legos, which I had no idea she had, in storage. And he was a little too young for Lego, but eventually I opened up the box and found the space Legos along with everything else, and decided to start putting them together. And about that same time, a Lego store opened up a few miles from my home, and I went in and chatted with one of the managers there soon after it opened, and learned about brick length and found ways to get the parts I was missing from my childhood sets, and set up a display. So if you've ever looked at my Facebook feed, the Brick City Builder Facebook feed, there's a photo of my eldest son playing with this Classic Space setup, very similar to this one. I tried to make the exact same one I made 3 or 4 years ago. So he's sitting there playing with it. But this is going to get packed up tonight, and then it'll be ready to go on Friday for the setup for the show. So let's get started. I'll take this camera off the tripod. So obviously the Benny spaceship is not part of my childhood collection. It is going to tie in with the city display that we're going to do at the lug show, so we'll just kind of ignore that. But you can see we have the command center. This is the first building in the space line I ever got. I probably got it in early 1979. It is not the version that has the brick-built crater. It is the version with the crater plate, and it must be a very early version of that because it is the first building that I ever got. And at the same time, probably the very first thing I ever got in Classic Space is this mobile tracking station, which I got at a toy store a couple of blocks from my home in New York City when I was a kid back in 1978. Over here there's the famous TV truck from that same command center over there. I guess when you're not using it, you park it under the very strange carport. I've never understood why that had a carport. Here's a later ship, probably one of the last gray ship in the Classic Space line. Here's a guy flying in. Other random things. Here's one of my favorite things. Is this very cool? I'm sure everybody has seen this, but it's always fun to play with these. The truck that drops the building and collects it. When you back it up and close the door, it picks up the building, which of course I have attached to the table. There we go. And you just close this and it lifts it up, and then you can just drive away. So that's a neat little thing. Classic Space had a lot of fun play features to it. Now here's the one-man ship. The one thing I do not have, I have pretty much everything from 1978 to 1982, but I do not have the large blue ship, the Galaxy Explorer. But I do have the one-man ship, which is a nice little ship, and then I have two of the two-man ships, the LL924, which has the forklift with it as well. And then back here we have the second command base. I think it was called the Beta 1. I know some people like this this very early version of Monorail. This predates the motorized Monorail that people, the theme that people love. And you put your minifigure on and it runs on this early version of Lego track that's here and goes over to the spaceship. Kind of. I had much more track because earlier on I had the early Lego trains that had the blue rail. So I used to extend this Monorail line when I was a kid. Among the mocks I would make, there would be a very large Monorail. You can see there's an arrow brick out of place back there. That's something I got on Bricklink to replace a missing one in that building. But I have not taken the building apart yet to get it in there. So, and I may not do that for the show. I may just take it off and put it into storage. Here you can see there's also probably a very early classic spaceship. Very funny design, really. It has 2 automobile steering wheels, and only came with 1 minifig. I believe it's a white one. I think I put the right minifigure in this. But it does have the printed slope control panel. Of course, the camera's not going to focus on that, is it? But those were fun. I think I wound up, I have 3 of those. Those were very inexpensive, and there was, as I said, there was a store walking distance from my home in New York City that sold Lego. So if I had extra money, I would go and buy things like that. So I have two mobile tracking stations, one over there, one over here, 3 of those gray ships, because those were inexpensive sets, and I have quite a few Jeeps, which I think were sold separately as well. Now this is something kind of interesting because it is an alternate build. All right, and I don't think it was even an official alternate build, but it was something that was either on the box or in an idea book. I call it a crater crawler. I don't think that's its actual name, but I really like it. It has wheels that are at different heights so that it moves more easily over the crater plates than some of the official vehicles, which all have sort of 2-wheel drive, flat drivetrain setups. Then there's this mobile lab, I believe this was called. I always thought this was very strange. I both liked it and disliked it at the same time because it's a kind of a strange design, but it's sort of unique too. And then we have our rocket launcher base, which is the last building that I ever acquired. And in addition to that, we have the mobile rocket launcher. So there you have it. Here's my classic space setup. We've got it's 3 base plates by 7 base plates. I also have slipped in here a flat gray base plate, slightly different color. It's actually from the Futuron Monorail set, which is a later space type set, but it allows me to fill out an empty space in my layout. I do have the Futuron, but I don't have the complete set of Monorail tracks, so I can't actually run it, even though it works. But the plate works nicely to fill in a gap. That way, at some point, I'll probably get another crater plate and fill it in. So here, we'll come in here. If you saw my Instagram feed, you saw that we were joking that Benny was getting into big trouble for hogging 2 parking spaces in the overcrowded classic space base. So we'll zoom in on Benny getting a tongue lashing from the base commander. Benny and Wildstyle are in there for occupying 2 parking spots when some of the ships are having to triple park, and this one poor fellow over here is having to fly around and look for a parking space. So thank you very much for watching. My next video will be a train video of my custom commuter train mocks for my city, which are also going to this show. I will probably post that at least a week from now. I haven't had a chance to film it yet. I may actually film it at the show. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you wish. And please do follow us on Instagram as well. Thank you.